Could I just interrupt you? If you're,
Sure.
I have to say, Barack Obama has not had any of those experiences either, nor has he ridden in a fighter plane and gotten shot down. I mean...
Well, I don't think riding in a fighter plane and getting shot down is a qualification to be president.
Really?
But Barack is not... He is not running on the fact that he has made these national security pronouncements. He's running on his other strengths.
All right, that was General Wesley Clark talking with CBS's Bob Schieffer last Sunday. Now, those comments ended up dominating the news pretty much all week long. Jim, did they warrant that much coverage?
Well, I think they might have been, General Clark might have been better off not keeping the story going. He kept defending it. That was really what gave it legs. One blooper that you apologize for goes away pretty quickly. Instead, General Clark, stupidly, and I think at the great expense of his own future prospects in the Obama administration, kept saying, no, what I really meant was, and this, I'm right, and so on. And of course, he found a liberal chorus of bloggers who say, oh yeah, absolutely, it's not the fight Obama wants to be in.
Jane, this whole Wesley Clark hullabaloo, I think, has brought up an interesting dilemma for the media, and that is John McCain's war service military record, time as a POW, fair game, or is it off limits?
I think that it is generally off limits. You know, John Kerry's military experience, he was touting, as we all remember, and then people tried to say it wasn't what it had appeared to be. This is a man who was tortured, who refused to be released early, son of admirals. I think it is probably off limits. Now, maybe it shouldn't be. I think that what Clark was trying to do was to puncture that and make it not off limits. And I don't think he did Obama any favors, because nobody wants to see a man who suffered the way he did have his military service trashed, seemingly.
But Cal, if John McCain is running on him being stronger in terms of national security than Barack Obama, why aren't the things that General Clark raised fair?
Well, I think it's all part of the same package, your military record or non-record, whether you were a POW or not, how you fought. I think it's all part of the package. But look, to say that this shouldn't be included, John F. Kennedy ran on PT-109, a boat in World War II that was blown up from out from under him. George H.W. Bush, we remember, many of us, the plane that he was in at the age of, what, 1920, who was shot down, that grainy black and white film as he's pulled upon the ship that has rescued him. And, of course, Bill Clinton's famous war record. Oh, excuse me. So I think it's legitimate what you did or did not do. It's a legitimate issue.
Well, that's interesting, because that's not how most people have covered it. I mean, General Wesley Clark has gotten a lot of grief for having raised this issue. And, in fact, it's interesting, Patricia, you know, Barack Obama gave what was touted as a major address on patriotism this week, but it was eclipsed, basically, by a lot of Clark's comments.
Yeah, it was totally eclipsed, and that was really the big problem here. General Clark went on this Sunday show. It's impossible to believe that the Obama campaign didn't know what he was going to say. I had heard him say this many times before. This was the first time it got picked up. It stepped on Obama's message, and it just started to go down the road of who's patriotic, who's not patriotic. Very uncomfortable for most people, particularly Democrats who feel like John Kerry was maligned the last time around. For them to be doing it now just paints a very difficult picture for Democrats to defend.
Yes, especially for Democrats. And that was an interesting segue here. David Greenberg in Slate.com wrote a brave article last week in which he tried to say there's actually two kinds of patriotism. There's the kind of patriotism of Ronald Reagan, which is waving the flag, and then there's the kind of thoughtful patriotism of Adlai Stevenson and Michael Dukakis, which you can't really tell it. It doesn't really look like patriotism to most people, but really is patriotic too. And I would say he might have an argument there. He's an intellectual, but in politics, no. There's one kind of patriotism involves waving the flag, eating apple pie, and loving your country, and that's what Obama has to dig out from under.
I think Obama's weak suit is proving that he has experience to get the infamous 3 a.m. phone call. And anytime McCain is able to talk about his war record is a good day for McCain and not a good day for Obama. So it was a mistake. But I think the media are absolutely reverential about McCain in ways that they were certainly not about John Kerry's military record.
Now, Cal, it's interesting that Jim brings up the word patriotism. Yeah. Is the word patriotism in some ways a dirty word in the mainstream media?
Well, maybe for some, but look, Bob Beckel and I, who write a column for USA Today, and we've written this book together, Common Ground, we deal with this issue. I don't think that it's useful, politically or as citizens, to say that some person loves his or her country more than another because of their difference on policy issues. Let's argue the policy, but let's not say because, say, you're for the war in Iraq and I'm against it, or the reverse, that I or you love our country more than the other. That's a non-provable, and I think it's divisive. And it's
unless you're like Matthew Rothschild in the Progressive magazine, who wrote an article this week, Why I'm Not Patriotic.
Oh.
That's different.
There is this line of attack on Obama right now that he's not patriotic, that Michelle Obama is not patriotic and does not love her country and is not proud of her country. So even though some conservatives are defensive of your position,
in fairness, she did say it. She did say, for the first time in my adult life, I'm proud. I mean, there's some basis for the allegation.
But you're proving the point that it's the conservatives' rap on the Obamas that they're not patriotic.
And in fact, CNN did a poll this week in which they asked all registered voters whether they think that Barack Obama lacks patriotism, and 1/4 of the respondents agreed that he did. Are you surprised that CNN even posed that question?
The reason I'm not surprised is because it is out there. That question is discussed on the blogs. It's discussed, obviously, in TV Roundtable. And that is why Barack Obama went out this week and is talking about his patriotism and gets stepped on when his surrogates don't do him any favors.
And maybe it has something to do with last summer when he wouldn't put his hand over his heart during the saying of the national anthem.
There's plenty of video. Jim, you were repeating, that you're like YouTube. We have YouTube right here in front of us. The same video, there are plenty of other videos where he's leading the Pledge of Allegiance in the floor of the Senate. That's not what's out there. And that's not what people want to know, who want to trash him and try to get him on this.
But, Jane, it is interesting that now he's wearing the flag pin after not wearing it for a while.
Well, and he gave this speech. I mean, I don't think people are nuanced about this. They want candidates to wear flag pins. You want to win, you better wear a flag pin. That's how America is right now.
I just hope the pins are not made in China.
All right. On that note.